If Christianity dies, the West will die. If the West dies, the world will be engulfed in cruelty. A great example is Afghanistan. America left Afghanistan. It is now a cruelty factory, especially to the half of the population that is female. Guess who said a similar thing just this past week? Richard Dawkins, one of the best known, he's probably the best known atheist in the world. He has been debating on behalf of atheism all his life. He is a professor at Oxford of evolutionary biology. He does not believe in God. He's not an agnostic. He's an atheist. There is no God. That is his position. Well, he has just said on British TV that he is very worried about Western civilization, specifically about England, if Christianity dies. In other words, he wants people to be, as he now calls himself for the first time in his life, a cultural Christian. So he's not a believing Christian, but he knows without cathedrals and without churches and without Christmas and without Easter and without Christmas carols and all these other trappings of Christianity, they're doomed. And he said, look, I see the alternative, and it's Islam. And he said, and frankly, I prefer Christianity to Islam. And this Jew prefers Christianity to Islam. There are many good Muslims, but that's irrelevant to the point. There are many bad people of all groups and many good people of all groups. The woman interviewing Dawkins noted that while churches are closing all over Europe, just now they're in the midst of building 6,000 mosques, new mosques in Europe, while the churches are closing. Now, do you believe that that is a good thing? You believe it is not good or bad? It's a non-issue. But the moral record of Islam in our time has not been a good one. People are afraid to say it because people are cowards. Cowardice is the most universal of the human instincts. It is more common than envy. Most people are born cowards. You become courageous. You don't become a coward. It's built in. You have to overcome it. So people won't say the truth here. The basis of liberty and women's rights and human rights and for that matter, elections is in the Judeo-Christian world. But that's where it comes from, the West. The foundations of Western civilization are Judeo-Christian. And you can't just say Christian, you have to say Judeo-Christian. Not because I'm a Jew, but because I'm honest. Without Judaism, there's no Christianity. Of course, Jesus was a Jew. The apostles were Jews. The disciples were Jews. And Paul was a Jew. The most frequent citation is Psalms. Jesus cites the Psalms more than anything else. Second most, Deuteronomy. Christianity is Judeo-Christianity. There's no Christianity that is not Judeo-Christianity. It is not authentic Christianity. So Dawkins realizes we're in trouble. My life's work has, if I had to summarize it, and I've often summarized it, is to explain to people the consequences of secularism, the death of religion. The death of religion in the West is the death of the West. The death of the West is increased cruelty, massive cruelty on the face of the earth. What is your alternative? Secular goodness? There are good secular people and there are bad religious people. I'm not talking about individuals. But the strength of the West is the Judeo-Christian strength of the West. And you're terribly naive if you think we can get rid of the foundations and keep the building. There is a great quote in this regard. When people stop believing in God, they don't believe in nothing. They believe in anything. And for proof, men give birth, men menstruate. It's fair to have biological men competing against biological women in women's sports. These are true absurdities. Those are examples of a civilization in decline. And this is all because we have departed from the Judeo-Christian foundations. Religious people do not say men give birth. Only secular people do. And I'm not saying all secular people do. I'm saying only secular people do. So I'll say something I'm sure I've never said on a Fireside Chat. My view as a religious Jew of Christianity is that Christianity took Judaism to the world. It took the Torah to the world. By the way, the greatest Jewish thinkers acknowledge this. It was overwhelmingly Christians who brought the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, the most important. Jews believe they're the most important in the Old Testament, because that's the basis of everything. Love your neighbor as yourself, love God, God loves you. There is good and evil. I mean, honor your parents, the 10 Commandments, the Garden of Eden. It's all in those 5 books, everything. And from that came the prophets, and then ultimately came Jesus and then Christianity. If we want this civilization to endure, people need to know these things. What's the alternative? When you're confused, you're pretty much confused about everything.